We have some major breaking news as it has been announced that Trackhouse Racing, Richard Childress Racing, and 2311 Racing have all been penalized for manipulating the outcome of the NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, we got some massive and major breaking news as it has been announced that NASCAR has handed out some massive penalties today to multiple organizations for manipulating the outcome of the race. As NASCAR reports, NASCAR penalized the number 1, 3, and 23 Cup Series teams for member code conduct violations during Sunday's race at Martinsville Speedway. After investigation of the on-track data and team scanners from the final laps of Sunday's round elimination race, NASCAR determined that the actions of those involved violated sections 4.4.B and D, NASCAR member conduct of the rulebook, which includes race manipulation and actions detrimental to stock car racing. Drivers Ross Chastain from Trackhouse Racing, Austin Dillon from Rich Childress Racing, and Bubba Wallace from 2311 were each hit with a loss of 50 driver points and a $100,000 fine. In addition, NASCAR also fined the owners of each team $100,000 and deducted 50 owners' points each. Crew chiefs Phil Surgeon, Justin Alexander, and Booty Barker, along with their respective spotters Brandon McReynolds, Brendan Benash, and Freddie Kraft, were all suspended for the 2024 season finale at Phoenix. Additionally, team executives Tony Lunders, Keith Rodden, and Dave Rodgers were also suspended for the 2024 season finale at Phoenix. In the late stages of last weekend's 500-lap race, you had a lot of manipulation going on. Let's go through all the manipulation that ended up happening. At the end of the NASCAR Cup Series race, you had two sides of stuff going on. You had Toyota manipulating the outcome of the NASCAR Cup Series race with Bubba Wallace in a sense. There was some radio communication that ended up coming out on Bubba Wallace's side of things. And what ended up happening was Bubba Wallace, what this tells me is that they did not find any evidence that Bubba Wallace had a flat tire, and probably the radio communication did play a role. Now, Freddie Kraft did play defense on Dirty Mo Media and Door Bumper Clear by saying he always hands the points out, and multiple people that are who have, of course, reported on stuff for Bubba Wallace on social media and X and Twitter have said the same thing, so I can't exactly say that. But Bubba Wallace has, of course, been penalized there. Now, the drivers are not suspended for the actions. Let's make that very clear. I was definitely a little surprised that drivers were not suspended in a sense for that, but I guess they don't want to suspend the drivers for what happened. They didn't do that with Michael Waltrip Racing and all that stuff. But I look at the 3 and the 1 team. There was definitely some race manipulation going on. There was a ton of audio and evidence that came out against Austin Dillon and, of course, Trackhouse Racing. Now, we have seen at least 2 of the organizations at this time announce that they are going to appeal the penalties. RCR said they were really disappointed with how things were handled, and they basically are going to appeal it, which is going to have to be very, very quickly, because I don't know if they're going to be able to appeal this as quick as possible. And 2311 Racing is also planning to appeal, which I don't know how you can do this so late in the week with them announcing it on Tuesday. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. Do they do it tomorrow, perhaps? Do they do it Wednesday or Thursday, excuse me? That could certainly be a possibility. But I think when it comes to race manipulation, I'm definitely a little bit surprised here to see that William Byron and Christopher Bell were not penalized. I guess this basically they penalized Christopher Bell, so everything also now stands, of course, for the Championship 4. William Byron gets to stay in the Championship 4, and Christopher Bell is unfortunately out because of the wall ride. Now, personally, in my opinion, like I said, I was a little surprised to see William Byron also not penalized for this, but I guess NASCAR is looking at that William Byron didn't really do anything, which again, he didn't do anything in his opinion, and he wasn't really told on the radio about any of this kind of stuff going on. But the blockade behind him, William Byron, was really, really suspicious and kind of sneaky in my opinion. I think it was a really, really bad look for their side of things. And I think that when you have a blockade and when you have people on the radio saying, do you know the deal? Do you know what exactly is going on both sides of things? Now, Ross Chastain's one was a little bit shady. Now, I will say for the Bubba Wallace and 2311 stuff, the only reason I think they got a penalty is maybe they discovered that they did not have a flat tire, because Bubba said that he had a flat tire with around 10 laps to go, which I think may have gotten them a penalty. If they didn't find that flat tire in the R&D center, that tells me that they were playing some definite games for sure. But we have seen race manipulation at a very high scale during this past weekend's race in Martinsville, and NASCAR had to do something about it. And I think NASCAR, they didn't get the call fully right, in my opinion. So I think that if you're going to penalize all these people, maybe could have penalized William Byron or Christopher Bell, but I guess they didn't want to do it. But when you think about this, none of this race manipulation would have ended up happening, or Toyota or Chevy would not have been playing these mind games if it wasn't for the fact that you have these NASCAR playoffs. These manufacturers want to find a way to always get into the championship, but I think the playoffs really played a major role in this race manipulation, and I think that the NASCAR playoffs absolutely need to be changed. And the last time we had manipulation on this scale, we of course saw this with Cole Custer, right, 2 years ago with Stewart-Haas Racing. But I definitely am a little shocked to see that certain parties got in trouble while other parties did not get in trouble here. And I think that NASCAR definitely screwed up the call just a little bit. But I'm also glad they at least are doing something and at least are penalizing people for this, because I think that you absolutely had to do some sort of action to stop this kind of stuff going forward. But you know what? Like I said, one of the biggest things that really would stop all this BS going on, I definitely do think one way is getting rid of the NASCAR playoffs. I think that would be a major reason to get rid of all the stupidity and all the chaos that we have seen. And I think that has played a major asset, a major role in why we've seen all the stupidity and all the BS that has been going on with race manipulation from teams earlier this year of Kyle Busch and Parker Retzlaff, and Parker Retzlaff getting yelled at by Chevrolet. And we've seen race manipulation before. We've seen it in other formats, but it's not always common to see race manipulation on this size of a scale. So NASCAR had to do something about it. I am really hoping that we get a change of this format going forward in 2025, or something gets done about the format. We know we have a new TV partner coming in with Amazon and TNT coming in. Maybe that's a way we could start changing things. I'm also surprised that the 16 team wasn't looked at. There was radio communication that came out from the 16 team. I'm a little surprised they weren't penalized for what ended up happening, and they got a driver penalty, I guess, because Shane Van Gisbergen isn't in the NASCAR Cup Series full-time this year, though he will be next year. I guess they didn't penalize him, but I'm a little surprised the 16 team did not get in trouble either. And I think the 20 and 24 team might have been affected. I think the wall ride was definitely questionable, but at least the race manipulation has been kind of taken care of just a little bit here. So we're going to have to kind of wait and see how things play out. I do expect that Trackhouse Racing is also going to appeal this, because I don't think they were as egregious as the 3 team. But I do think with the 3, you've got clear race manipulation with the 3 car. That is, in my opinion, the most egregious of all the organizations, is race manipulation with the 3. But we'll have to kind of wait and see how the rest of the information comes out. And as more information does come out, we'll cover here on the channel. But I think this absolutely is huge. This is one of the biggest penalties and one of the biggest stories, I think, of the year so far, because you can't have race manipulation on this scale. They made the end of that race in Martinsville a complete shambles. You have Christopher Bell calling out Chevrolet on social media, and I'm glad to see the NASCAR is at least taking some sort of step to remedy all this kind of stuff, because you can't have this stuff happening on the racetrack. I think that there's got to be changes going forward, hopefully, and I really hope this race manipulation stops going forward. Hopefully that we end all this race manipulation, because all the stuff that's been going on with the race manipulation has been really bad and very unacceptable, and I hope that things change going forward, in my honest opinion, because I think what's been happening is unforgivable, to be honest. So that is going to be it for today's special breaking news episode. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me through Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. List description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about all the stuff and the penalty that came out today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we'll discuss more about this news that came out earlier today. We also will probably talk a little bit about the court date and all this stuff, if there's no announcement on that and the injunction. And we'll talk about all this stuff later this week, along with championship predictions for the NASCAR Cup Series race coming out tomorrow morning. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.